Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good evening out there. I want to thank everybody for joining into my live show. I know it's a little bit different than I normally do. I've had a busy summer as everybody else. I've been doing lots of going out and traveling for a speaking event. I want to talk about that some. Went out to California just to support the Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation. I want to talk about that some. But before I get rolling, I hope everybody's having a great evening. Like I said before, I do want to ask you to go out to veteranstrashtalk.com. Be sure to go out and look at our store to get all of our good merch. I have one of our t-shirts on now. I also have my Mental Health Warrior t-shirts. It's a t-shirt that I talk about that can save a life because I have the crisis number text on the back of it. They've been hugely popular as I go out and do my speaking events. So go out and please support us. All every dime we make goes back into supporting veterans and helping veterans. So it's very important. But be sure to go out and like our Facebook pages at both at Veteran Trash Talk and also at Gruntworks. It's very important. It allows us to continue to do what we do, and helping veterans and the community at large. With my podcast, The Mental Health Warrior, I really try to help the whole community, not just the veteran community, because we all have family members and we all have, people that may not have served, but PTSD and mental health issues affects everybody. As I travel and done my speaking events over the years, and if you watch my podcast, you've kind of seen that. But as we go ahead, we'll get it kicked off. I'll keep this fairly short tonight, but I thought it was feeling important. I've kind of felt it, in my heart to kind of give you guys an update. There's been a couple of days that I haven't done a speaking event or a podcast because we just had to miss because I was traveling, as sure as anybody can understand that. But, the first thing I want to talk about is, I'm going to run a rolling screen of pictures so you guys can see the pictures of what I'm talking about on the feed as I'm talking, so you can look and kind of see. But it's been a fun summer. It's been a busy summer. But, I suffer from PTSD. I have ADHD, TBI. I got my hearing loss. I lost in Iraq. And so, you just have a lot of those issues. And, things always come, good things never happen. Bad things always come up when bad things are happening, right? And so when you have PTSD or mental health issues or stuff, it's always hard to, find that light or want to see the sunlight or whatever the next day. And most of the times I have really good days. I spend a lot of time with my boys and I enjoy that. And we do a lot of things together. You'll see that, coming up on the slideshow as it's running. And I think it's important. One thing that we did is starting in June is I went out, Veterans Trash Talk was partnering with Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation, went out there for, the road trip that he had made driving from the East Coast to the West Coast. And that was a very important event and moving event. But one good thing about the event, and you'll see a picture of me standing on the beach, it'll scroll through and the wind's blowing my hair. And I always, tease Nick about that because he always said I was bald, but I'm not bald. Anyway, but as I went out there and I got out to California and was in San Diego area at Coronado Beach, I went down and got the fish tacos because everybody says you need to try the fish tacos. So I had my, Veterans Trash Talk t-shirt on and I'm there standing in line and the person in front of me turned around and says, "Oh, are you associated with Veterans Trash Talk?" And we started talking and, long conversation short, we were waiting to get our fish tacos and he was there with his girlfriend, but he was in the Navy, got out of the Navy. His name was Matt, but he had watched our podcast to include mine, The Mental Health Warrior. So I asked him, I said, "Hey, how long are you going to be at the beach?" And, they were going to be there for a while. So I went back to my room and you'll see the photo there. I gave him one of my mental health t-shirts and, he put it on and said, "Hey, can we take a picture with us?" I said, "Yeah, sure we can." And I posted it on my social media. But, I was very moved by that. And he had a very moving story, and that's why Veterans Trash Talk does what we do. Everybody's got a story. PTSD is completely different for everybody. And as I go through my conversation today, if you watch the podcast with Monica, the yoga instructor, and actually when I was in Missouri after my speaking event in Ohio, I actually went to her studio and at Sweat and actually did yoga for the first time and really enjoyed it. And I'll get into more of that later. But, as I'm visiting with Matt and his girlfriend on the beach there and kind of telling him what I'm doing there and what's going on, he had a really moving story on, how he really struggled with his medications and the doctors getting that medication right. And knowing what he should take and not take. And he just was really having a hard time. And, it was, watching our podcast, watching our shows, he said he really appreciated it because that really kind of helped him to keep pushing forward. And, so I asked him, I said, so how are you doing now? I said, have they, got that fixed? Is, what, just kind of see what his mental state was. And all that had been fixed. He was doing good. And I just really appreciated his kind of words about Veterans Trash Talk and what we do. And it was really nice. One of the things I've talked about, and I did a podcast on it, and I wanted to touch on it again, is, I talk about, and Dr. Valania came on the show from the hearing doctors, is, I have significant hearing loss, and my hearing loss is tone deficit, and then just loss of hearing. And it was due to, an incident in Iraq. And so what I'd never realized is, and if you have hearing issues, or if you can't hear somebody talking and things like that, go get yourself and get a test. Go back and watch my podcast with Dr. Valania from the hearing doctors, because what they did for me is amazing. And when you lose something, hearing, sight, smell, taste, whatever, a sense of your body, to get that back is an amazing feeling. But one thing that's important is you guys know, if you follow me, I'm an active runner. I enjoy running, and I work out a lot. But the other set of hearing aids I had, the Start Keys, didn't handle the moisture in my ear a lot. And I started having a lot of issues with them. And so if you do go to a hearing doctor and you are active, you don't have to be exercised, but if you work in the garden, or if you're out, working in the yard or something where you sweat a lot, let them know that. Because they'll give you a different type, or maybe a different company makes a different type of hearing aid that will better fit your activity level. It's pretty amazing. And, the funny thing is I went from watching TV on volume 25 to I can watch TV on volume 4. And I'm not yelling at my kids all the time because they thought I was yelling at them, but I wasn't. I didn't realize how loud I was talking because I couldn't hear myself. I couldn't hear anything. And so I just want to offer that up. And I really appreciated what the hearing doctors have done. They call and follow up. I got another follow-up appointment August 22nd. But with my new hearing aids, I haven't had any issues, had any problems. And it's been a great experience. And I would say that if you're in the DMV area, the Virginia area, and you are looking to go get a hearing test or something, they don't sponsor my podcast. They don't do anything with it. This is me just talking from my own experience and happy with the customer service and everything I got. Look them up and go see them because they're awesome. They got several, they're a local business run business, but they got several different, offices. But be sure and go and get your TRICARE referral before you go and do that. It's very important. Do know that if you're on TRICARE Select, they no longer cover hearing aids. So you have to be on TRICARE Prime. But if you're under VA and you get the VA health insurance, they'll pay for them. But I don't know exactly what the VA pays for, anything like that. So it's very important. I also have some damage to my eyes, and so I have to do, a care routine for my eyes. It's very important there. And I think I didn't realize that until I went to the TBI clinic there in Fort Belvoir, that how bad and dry my eyes was, and the little damage that had occurred from being in the sandstorms and everything else that we all dealt with when we were deployed. But it's funny, if you watched my podcast a couple of weeks ago, when I did the truck transformation, that was a lot of fun. I'm a big car guy. You guys should know that if you watch my podcast. That's why I have my Mustang on my shirt. But, I do the cars, and I started doing I didn't do them for a long time. And I don't know why I didn't do them. And I think that had a lot to do with my PTSD and my ADHD and stuff. And I think I was just in a state of depression. I'm almost positive I was for a lot of years and didn't realize that, but doing my speaking events and the podcast, and, I got another big announcement that I'll announce here in maybe a month or so about something that's coming out that I'm super excited about. But so then I decided after I retired, I bought, I got the Mustang, and me and the boys, the Mustang was already completed. I built 5 cars from ground up. As you get older, you get smarter. You want to buy one already finished, and you can just tinker with it, right? The guy that built my Mustang, he did an amazing job with it. Steve there at Arizona, shout out to you. And it's been a great car, and I can just jump in it, start it, clean it, go drive it, and take it to car shows. But my sons had never experienced car shows. I grew up going to car shows. Like I said, I bought my first car when I was 14. If you watch my first podcast, there's a picture of it out there, and I showed it for 10 years. It was something I did, but after 9/11, I just stopped doing it. In the military and everything. And I don't know why I did that. But I did. But it gives me a lot of pleasure to go out and work on cars and clean them and all that stuff. But I think, with my TBI injury and having ADHD, I think that just kind of helps calm me down. And if other people who has that, they'll understand what I'm talking about. It's just like when I got home yesterday from the trip to Ohio and then Missouri to visit the family. When I get home, I think in my mind, I have to get everything done. I have to get all clothes done, laundry done, house clean, everything like it was normal, like I never left. And I won't sleep until I do it. And I tried when I got home this time, I let a couple of things go that I didn't get done. So I'm trying to manage my anxiety and things like that. And so I'm pretty proud of myself. I let a couple of things go. Now, did I wake up at 6:30 this morning to get those things done? Absolutely. But I was kind of proud of myself to kind of let those things go. But as you see the pictures of the Mustang and the truck, and if you watch the podcast about the truck transformation, that was such a fun thing to do with my boys. They absolutely loved it and enjoyed it. And I had a great time with them. Lloyd did a lot of the filming. Kevin did a great job in piecing it together. So, go back and watch that episode podcast on the truck transformation. It was a lot of fun. It was fun to watch the boys when we go to a car show. The first car show my Mustang was in, it won best of show. And Lloyd was so excited about that because, you get the big trophy and they give it to you at last. And it's a big honor to have. The second car show was in, I didn't win best of show, but I got participants pick, which is just as good. It means everybody else that had a car in there said, hey, this is the car that if we could have one, we all want this one. And so I was super excited about that. And I'm very proud about that. But Lloyd and Junior just got so excited. And I made Junior act like he owned a white truck. And so if somebody came up and was asking questions about it, because they were part of the process of it being modified, and a big shout out to Quality Tire here in Woodbridge, Virginia, and BDS for giving me a great suspension and lift kit on that truck. So he was able to explain to him all the things that we did to the truck. And it was kind of nice to watch him do that. And I think he really enjoyed it, even though he says he didn't, but I think he really did. And to me, it just gives me pleasure to see something and do something with my boys. We go out, we go fishing. You'll see the pictures of us. We're there in Rhode Island. We caught some flounder there and enjoyed that. And then the funny thing is my friend Danae was having her 5th annual NAMI celebration of the NAMI Brown County, which I joined that 2 years ago. And it's if you don't know anything about NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Health, is, they're just a grassroots organization. It's been here for a very long time. And it's just a Zoom call that I make. It's absolutely free. And I'm online with other people that's part of this. And we just sit there and kind of like with Veterans Trash Talk, you just kind of talk about, what's going on, bothering you today, what's going on in your life. And it's really nice. And I really enjoy it. I don't get to do it all the time, but when I do get to do it, I loved it. And so she was having that event. I was able to go out and support her. What was really fun is the first time that my boys went. And so I got up and I did my speaking event, but I had the boys running the table back with the Veterans Trash Talk gear. And they had so much fun. You can see the photos of the table, and Junior's the one that folded the clothes and set it all up. And Lloyd was helping find the sizes of the t-shirts, when people came up to buy it. And they got pretty busy. They sold a lot of t-shirts. But, one great thing that Junior did, and I'm very proud of him about this, is that we couldn't take credit cards, and a lot of people didn't have cash. But Junior was showing the older people about Cash App, about Zelle, and it was helping the ladies set these things up on their phone. And so they not only could they pay us, but a couple of ladies were like, wow, I this would make it so much easier when I have to pay my daughter or pay my son or do this. They didn't know anything about it. And Junior did a really awesome job, going out and explaining that to them. And I was very proud and happy. And a lot of them came up and said they were so thankful of my son. He was so nice and articulate in helping them. And, we sell a lot of t-shirts. We get the message out there about Veterans Trash Talk, Mental Health Warrior, and all of our other shows. And you just never know who you're going to help. And it was funny. I was sitting out front and talking to one of the participants, and I don't know if he might have told me his name, but I got a horrible memory. But it was funny because I was telling him about the Mustang, and because I had the t-shirt on. And he's like, I told him I grew up in a body shop, and he had an old car that he bought from a junkyard. And he was asking me on how to fix things. So I took the time to walk around the car and gave him tips on how to fix this dent or, take these scratches out or things like that. Cause it made him feel better. It made me feel good. I always like helping people. I think it's important. And then after we got done with Brown County, Ohio, me and the boys jumped in the car and then we headed out to Kansas City, Missouri. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know that Lloyd is very good at cannonball. So he is now the self-proclaimed cannonball champion, I think in 5 states now. I need to post the latest one that we just did in West Virginia. I haven't posted on Instagram yet. My Instagram page is Clifford Bauman. So it's pretty easy to find. So you can go out there and see the amazing reels that we make with Lloyd doing his cannonballs. He enjoys that. When we went to West Virginia, I think he swam for 3 hours. That night after we rolled in coming back from Missouri. But, when we got to Kansas City, we had a great time. My older brother lives there in Kansas City, Missouri. If you've never been, they have the only World War I museum and monument to the soldiers that fought in World War I. We didn't visit at this time, but we had visited in the past. Last year, actually, we visited. But we went to the train station there, the Union Station in Kansas City, to the Science Center, and Lloyd has that. And if you're ever in Kansas City area, go to the Union Station. They always have something going on, and it was just great. But one thing while we're in Missouri, and if you guys follow me on Instagram or if you've seen any of my podcasts or things, I enjoy eating at Black Bear Diner. I first ate at them when I was out in California. It was great. I was doing a speaking event. It's just a great family restaurant. I went there to just have some comfort food after doing my speaking events because I was just mentally drained, and I wanted to eat really bad stuff, but the food was really good. And so I just kind of built a relationship with them because I really like what they do for the community, both for veterans and just the community at large. And if you've never eaten at a Black Bear Diner, go and eat at one because you'll see what I'm talking about when you go. And you can follow them on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and you'll see what I'm talking about when they say they support the community. So my boys had always heard me talk about them, and I didn't realize that they had a restaurant in Independence, Missouri. So we went there, and you see the pictures on the Instagram. You see the boys standing next to the bear, and you'll see us sitting down eating dinner. So the boys finally got to eat at the Black Bear Diner they've heard me talk about for the last year and a half. And so that was a lot of fun to go and do. It's when you have, PTSD, right? And, certain things will pop up that bother you and stuff. And when you're on vacation with your family or at work or driving to work or something, when you're out of your zone of your home, sometimes that can make things kind of tough. And one thing I've tried to do, personally is stop drinking as much. I don't drink hardly at all like I used to at all. And that's just something I chose. It wasn't for any other reason. But the problem with me and drinking, other than I would eat snacks, is that, my mind would start to wander, right? I can't control what avenue my mind goes if I've been drinking too much. And so I really try to not do that. And I've been, really successful at it. And it's kind of funny. I started that process because I was at the doctor just a couple of years ago, and he was an older doctor. And he's like, oh, so, how much do you drink? I was like, I don't know, a couple of beers a night. He's like, well, what's a couple? I said 3. And he says, well, why not just drink 2 beers a night? I'm like, okay, well, I think I can do that. And then I started doing that. And the next thing you know, I went down, saw him again the next year. And he's like, oh, so how much do you drink? I'm like, well, I drink 2 beers a night now. He's like, oh, well, why don't you just drink 1 beer a night? And so then I started doing that. So, it's just making little changes that can make the biggest difference in the world. I say that all the time. But we had a great time in Kansas City visiting my brother. We did lots of touring and seeing around. Then we drove 3 hours south to visit. I have other family members that live down in Ozark, Missouri. My mom lives in Republic. My sister has 3 kids. They all have kids. And so Lloyd, for his birthday this year, he turned 8. was able to have a birthday party, and you'll see a picture of him with all of his cousins and stuff. And he hasn't been able to do that. And so he had a lot of fun with that, and he really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed seeing him, be able to have that experience, because out here in Virginia, I don't have any family that live out here. And so as those kids grow up and as Lloyd grows up, it's always good to have that relationship with his cousins. But, one thing I enjoy when I go home, my older brother, Chris, and you'll see the photo, three of us, we just finished. I think I ran with him 4 times. I was in town. I was only in town for a week. But we go out every morning, although they get up really early to run. He wanted to get up at 5:30 and go run. I finally talked him into going at 6 because I'm on vacation. I didn't get up at 5:30 in the morning. He lost his damn mind. I'm not in the military anymore. I don't have to get up and do PT. But so we got up, and it was nice to go and run with them. My brother's a superintendent there. My sister's a principal at the school there in Ozark, and so they're very busy. And so I really enjoy coming to town and running with them, because in Virginia I run by myself. I really should start a running group, actually. But in Virginia I run by myself. So it was nice to have that time with them. I stayed with my mom, which is my my son's grandmother. And so it was nice to have the boys to have that time with their grandma and just enjoy it. It's funny because we don't have cats at my house because I'm just not a cat person. My dog would eat them, to be honest with you. Falco does not like cats. But Junior's allergic to them. So when we're at my mom's house, the neighbor has like 4 outdoor cats. And so Lloyd is constantly feeding these cats, playing with them, and he just enjoys that. And so it was fun that he was able to go and do that. And I'm sure the cats enjoyed it because they don't get a lot of attention. So that's kind of fun. And I just really enjoyed, doing that and being there. And then, we got in a car and drove back here. We got into Virginia about mid-afternoon yesterday. So it was a very busy 17 days with driving out and doing the speaking event and then coming back. But I just wanted to give everybody out there, a quick update of what's going on with me. I appreciate, everybody that supported me and stuff. And, one thing I did in Missouri, and if you watch my podcast with Monica Baker, the yoga instructor. So I went and we'll have a podcast about it because we took video of me doing yoga for the first time. So I went into restorative yoga, the hot yoga, because that's what my doctor recommended. And that's also what Monica recommended. And if you've never done yoga before, I'm telling you, you need to start doing yoga. I'm going to look for a place out here, a studio to do yoga, because how I felt afterwards was pretty amazing. I got injuries between my C4 through C7. I get Botox in my back and other things, but it's just going there and just stretching out and the relaxing atmosphere. Now, the first time I went, because we were filming and Junior was filming and stuff, I really didn't get to relax a lot, but Junior was upset because he watched it. And so we went back on Thursday, 2 days later. I think it was Monday. They did a special class she had big shout out to Sweat. Okay. Let me backtrack a little bit. So Sweat there, the studio put out to its members that I was coming in about the podcast. I was coming in to do yoga for the first time, and they opened up the doors to anybody who wanted to come in and do yoga with a veteran for that day. And I think there were 15, 20 people in the class that showed up to do it. And that was very moving and very thankful to them for doing that, just to kind of support, what I was doing and why I was there and trying to help people who deal with chronic pain maybe deal with it differently or find something else to do, because it's one of the things I suffer from. And so if you watch the podcast with Monica, she's a big yoga person. She's a couple of years older than I am, but she's amazing with what she does. She has PTSD issues and other things, and she found relief through yoga. And so that's pretty amazing. So the second time we go do yoga, and you'll see the picture that Junior came with me and he did the class, and you see the picture of the 4 of us after class, and we were just visiting. But the second time I did yoga, I felt a whole lot better. And so if somebody would have told me, I've heard of yoga all my life, do yoga, do this. And it just, for me, it just didn't click on me. I want to lift weights and run. I don't want to stand in a room when, somebody's hitting the bowl and telling you to relax and all this other stuff. But I tell you what, after I did it, I felt amazing. And I want to say a big shout out to Sweat and a big shout out to Monica for doing that. And it's something that I'm going to continue and add into my workout regime because it really made me feel a whole lot better. And, veterans out there, and hey guys, it's always good to go out and try new things, right? And I went out and tried yoga, and Cliff Bauman likes yoga. So you can make fun of me if you want. Go right ahead. I don't care because I'm going to continue it. But I really enjoyed it. I want to thank everybody who's watching the program. Thanks for tuning in. There's going to be some good things coming out. I may do some more live shows here coming up about it. I got some great guests lined up coming up. And so I'm super excited about all that. But hey, be sure to go out and like our pages at Veterans Trash Talk, like our Facebook page, like our Instagram page. We're all across social media with Twitter, Truth Social, all of them we're on. Go out there and support. Go out to our YouTube page, like and subscribe to all of our YouTube videos and channels that we have out there. It's great. We're doing this to help veterans and help the community at large. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to say have a good night, take care, and be mentally strong.